Apa khabar semua? Dan semua, Oseyo. Ni hao mau? Ubri rekinga, nala rekinga. Ada jawapan. Ladies and gentlemen, I think all of us here are eager. All of us here await the announcement. That announcement which the Prime Minister has threatened to make over 2 years now. The Prime Minister who assumed office not after being elected, but after taking over another Prime Minister. The Prime Minister who I will say has proven to be the most frightened Prime Minister in Malaysia until today. And a Prime Minister who I think may not even dissolve Parliament until Parliament automatically stands dissolved. What do you all think? But the question is, persoalan yang timbul, kenapa? Why would Najib Tun Razak be so afraid? Why is he so afraid? And I think the answer is clear to all of us. I think for the first time in the history of Malaysian politics, the Barisan Nasional government realizes, it fears the power of the people who it knows will cause its failure next time. Next year. 2008, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure most of you all here, all of us think about it. All of us have thought about it. But I'm not sure if any of us here believe that we will see 5 states fall. 5 states under the government of Pakatan Rakyat. At that point of time, yes, most of us hopeful. We spoke about it. But what happened will always remain in our minds. What happened in 2008? In 2008, the people of Malaysia stood up. The people of Malaysia told Barisan Nasional that enough is enough. Ultimately, it comes back to the people. We will decide who is government of this country, who will govern us in the future of Malaysia. Now in 2008, most of us saw a swing which we in the DAP have labelled the tsunami. The tsunami which swept through Malaysia. But ladies and gentlemen, even at that point of time, we in Pakatan Rakyat said that we have reason to believe that there were problems with the electoral roll. And I think after having Bersih 2.0 and Bersih 3.0, pressure being brought upon the election commission, demanding for cleaner rolls, today we see the truth revealed in Sabah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure most of you are following here the outcome of the RCI in Sabah, where we hear yesterday's news that the Barisan Nasional government under the leadership of Dr. Mahathir Mohamad approved more than 100,000 citizenships to people, persons, Filipinos, Indonesians, Pakistanis, Indians. Why? Of course we know why. The exchange was simple. Citizenship for votes. Now with this kind of deceit, even with this kind of practice, in 2008 we still saw the swing and how strong it was, which led to us taking over 5 states, which led in the first time of the history of Malaysia to Barisan Nasional losing its 2/3 majority in Parliament. Now ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very sure that in the next elections, which is going to be held soon, given the fact that we have put the Election Commission in check, given the fact that we have now revealed what Barisan Nasional has done in the past, I am absolutely certain that Pakatan Rakyat will not only win the next elections, but there will be another tsunami which will show Pakatan Rakyat winning big, perhaps even a 2/3 majority in the vote. We ask ourselves, why? Why is there the need for us to ensure that Barisan Nasional is shown? Why do we have to save Malaysia? We, the DAP, the campaign is Ubah, Selamatkan Malaysia. Why do we have to save Malaysia? Ladies and gentlemen, we look at Najib Razak, the Prime Minister. A month ago, they had the UMNO General Assembly. And after 4 years, Najib Razak comes out in the open to say that UMNO has changed, Barisan Nasional has changed. Now why did he say this? He says that there is no need for Pakatan Rakyat in order to bring change. Barisan Nasional is capable of change. UMNO is capable of change. I ask you here, do you believe Najib Razak? Do you think UMNO is capable of change? Do you think Barisan Nasional can bring about the change that Malaysians want to see? Of course not. We don't have to go far. Ask ourselves simple questions. Simple questions. Recently, a report by the Global Financial Index. What does this report say? Malaysia is now number 2 in this world. For what? For what? When I see number 2 in this world, I say, wow, we're number 2 in this world. But after reading it, I'm embarrassed. We are in number 2 in this world after China for the most amount of money leaving this country illegally. Yes, negara yang kedua selepas China untuk uang yang keluar daripada negara ini secara haram. And how much are we talking about? 196.8 billion ringgit in 1 year, 2010 to 2011. Now this is what is happening under the leadership of Najib Razak. Now if one were to ask whether or not such a scandal has been brought to his notice, whether or not such a scandal has been brought to the notice of Barisan Nasional, let me tell you this. Prior to 2011, 2010, 2011, the same report said that between 2001 and 2009, a total of 888 billion US dollars left Malaysia illegally. Now you ask yourself, in Parliament we have raised this. In Parliament, of course, nowadays Parliament is different. Parliament nowadays, very different. With 70 over members of Parliament from Pakatan Rakyat, UMNO, Barisan Nasional, they can't get away with it that easily. The Speaker doesn't get away with it easily. Especially with Mr. Karpal around, yang berhormat from Bukit Logo. Whenever the Speaker sees him, the Speaker listens to him. And rightly so. But we come back. 888 billion. What has the government done to recover that money? The answer is absolutely nothing. And what is the government doing to make sure that our money, taxpayers' money, do not leave the country again illegally? Nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, when we ask our government for money for education, they say to us they have no money. The usual word that is used, boluya. No money. But we ask ourselves, why is it that we in Malaysia, a country which is rich all over, we have got everything, natural resources, we have oil, we have industries, the list goes on. But why is it that in this country we do not have enough money to educate our own children? Now most of you here, I'm sure, know how difficult it is. You work, and you work because you want to put your children to university. Isn't that right? And it's not cheap. It is not cheap. The question we ask is, why is it that our country can't provide education for our own children? We are Malaysians. Whether we like it or not, our children are the children of today. But they are the leaders of tomorrow. But insofar as we are concerned, the first priority of this government should be to ensure that every Malaysian child under the Malaysian sun gets free education when it comes to education. But this includes education till the end of university level. Now this is where Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim in Pakatan Rakyat, we have said that if we take over Pakatan Rakyat, this is the first thing that we will look at. Now students who have had to take PTPTN loans, what happens? You take a loan, you go to university, the moment you graduate, you walk out of university, you already owe the government money. Now this is unnecessary. And these students, most of them, when they come out of university, they don't start working straight away. So we have got a list of students in Malaysia, all professionals, But all blacklisted because banks are looking for them because they have not paid back their loans. A lot of them can't even leave this country. In fact, my own legal assistant had a problem because of his PTPTN loan as well. Blacklisted can't leave Malaysia. So we ask ourselves, what kind of a future generation are we looking at? Now this is the reason why we in Pakatan Rakyat, we say, ladies and gentlemen, it is easy for us to talk about change. Senang untuk kita nak sebut, kita datang ke ceramah hari-hari, malam-malam kita kata, kita nak tukar, nak bawa perubahan, senang. Tapi persoalan dia, apakah perubahan itu? Adakah kita sedia untuk membawa perubahan yang besar? Perubahan yang memang boleh menunjukkan bahawa kita dan Pakatan Rakyat sedia untuk mewujudkan satu kerajaan yang lebih besar, yang lebih sedia untuk angkat rakyat Malaysia. This is what we ask ourselves. Are we prepared to do what Barisan Nasional didn't do in order to lift the Malaysian people, the society status? Now in this regard, I can only do so much as to tell you what we have done in Selangor. A few examples. The ladies and gentlemen, recently, I'm sure all of us here read and understand the issue surrounding Talam. Right? Now Talam, we all know, a developer. Now what happened to this developer? Ultimately, they went bankrupt, as a result of which a lot of people who had taken loans to buy houses, they have taken their loans, they signed the loans, agreements with the banks, they are paying their installments every month, but no house. Why? Because Talam has gone bankrupt. So what you have is a situation where a person working just came back, bought a house, over 10 years, still paying the loan, but no house. No house. Now, when these people met the previous Menteri Besar, the Kir Toyo, the problem was brought up. But the Barisan Nasional government at that point of time said to them that there's nothing much they can do. It's a legal matter because Talam has been wound up. Now we in Pakatan Rakyat, when we took over Selangor, we were again approached by many people who told us that this is a major problem. They wanted the government to help. So now we are lucky because in Selangor, the Menteri Besar is Tan Sri Khalid Ibrahim, and this man has got a lot of experience in the corporate sector. So what he did was simple. He says, alright, call up the file, let's look at the file, and let's try and find a way to solve the problem. And true enough, when we pulled up the file, we found that Talam owed the state. They owed the state some 370 million ringgit. 370 million ringgit. Now simple, I ask you, you all know, isn't it? If people owe you money, you go and ask them for the money back, correct? Especially if you are a government, it's your duty to go and ask them back for the money, correct? This is what you are there for. You're a government, you're supposed to take care of the interests of the public. So this is what we did in Selangor. We asked them to come up with their accounts because we wanted to look to see what it is we could do to help. And ultimately, Tan Sri Khalid, he noticed that Talam had assets amounting to 700 million ringgit. So what do? You say, alright, no problem. Kalau tak ada wang, tak boleh bagi wang tunai, tak ada masalah. Kita ambil lah tanah kamu. Simple. So we took back property. Now, 370 million owing. We collect 700 million. Chua Tiyong the next day says it's a $1 billion scandal. I cannot understand how it is Chua Tiyong does his maths. In fact, I don't know where Chua Tiyong came from. I'm sure his university is not very proud to have him today as one of them from his university. But this is the kind of nonsense that we listen to from MCA. MCA is the kind of party that want to criticize for the sake of criticizing. As far as we are concerned, let me put it this way. At least we in Pakatan Rakyat, we took steps to recover the debt. We in Pakatan Rakyat, we knew there was a $370 million debt. We took steps and we recovered 700 million ringgit. This money going back to the people, and at the end of the day, ensuring that homes that have not been built will be built for people who will get their houses. We did it. I want to ask Chua Tiyong, when you knew there was a problem, people came to you and asked for help, what did you all do in MCA? Why did you close the file and keep it under a lot of other files, under some table somewhere? Why? Now this is only one case. It is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. Kita di sini tidak menyebut berkenaan dengan juta-juta, beratus ribu ringgit, tak ada. Kita di sini menyebut berkenaan dengan berbilion-bilion. Now it's a big thing. But we in Pakatan Rakyat, we have shown that where there is a problem, if there is a solution, we are prepared to do what it takes in order to ensure that the interests of the people are protected. That is one. Now we also look at Shabash. Now I'm sure Shabash, everybody is reading about the problems of Shabash today. But let's be very careful, because if you say anything about Shabash, they will sue you tomorrow. And the courts of this country will allow the suit and say you cannot complain, you cannot criticize Shabash. That's what happened to Tony Poa. 200,000 ringgit for what? For saying that insofar as he is concerned, he didn't think that Shabash could manage the water concession properly. That's a separate matter, that's on appeal. But we have all seen, how can you, as a person who has a monopoly, who deals with water, how can you have a situation where hundreds of homes have got no water? Now they talk about the fact that there is no water in the dams. You got to be crazy. There are floods in Puchong. How can you say there is no water in the dam? Everything rains, sure, even here in PJ, floods. But there's no water in the dam, according to some Barisan National experts. So we ask ourselves, Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim was saying once in a ceramah, which I thought was quite interesting. Barisan National says that it is the state's fault. The state's fault that there is no water. But they don't understand that there's also no water in KL. There is no water in parts of Selangor, correct? There's no water in KL. In fact, we remember a debate in Parliament where a member of Parliament from Sarawak, Dato' Sri Anwar again reminded us. This member of Parliament was going on and on. He was going on and on about how great a government Barisan National was. He was going on and on thanking the Prime Minister for supplying beautiful pipes, long pipes, miles and miles of pipes, water pipes in Sarawak, shining, beautiful, nice to look at. And after half an hour of praising the Prime Minister, then he said, but the problem is, there is no water. So this is what we have to deal with. But again, I come back to what I was saying earlier. What we are looking at in Shabash is just a beginning. It is an example of what it is we will do if we win government in Pakatan Rakyat. Even 2 minutes left. I haven't even started. Mr. Chairman, can you overrule this and give me at least 10 more minutes? Alright, I'll try. 2 minutes. I'm used to this. In Parliament also, the Speaker always says 2 minutes. Tuan Speaker, minta kebenaran. Zero. Now he has got the traffic light system in his day one now, I understand. Red color light, yellow light and so forth. But anyway, coming back to you, ladies and gentlemen. Let us again consider what it is we do. Shabash. Not a $1 or $2 million project. Big involved. And even there we have shown in Pakatan Rakyat that we are prepared to take on Shabash. Our Menteri Besar, brave. He says it doesn't matter. If we fight them all the way, if to fight them in court, out of court, we will fight them, because what we have to do is we have to ensure that we protect the interests of the people. This is what we have in Pakatan Rakyat. But ladies and gentlemen, the same thing applies if we take over federal government. These are just two examples. I can give you other examples, Alam Flora and so forth, but I don't have the time. Now, let us look at Putrajaya. Ladies and gentlemen, there is so much to do in Putrajaya. In fact, I will tell you this. A lot of people say, let's wait for the elections, and after the elections, then we can take it easy. I don't think so. I think it's the other way around. Anybody wants a break, they better take the break now, because the moment we win the elections, it's going to be hard work for us all the way. The first thing that we will do when we come into power, as promised by Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim, is of course, look at how it is we can reduce the price of amenities that will help alleviate and help lessen the burden of the people, right? Reducing the prices of petrol, Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim has said. The other thing that we want to do is we want to come into power because we want to re-evaluate, pull up all those old files and contracts that are unfair to the people. We want to have them re-evaluated so that the contracts can be renegotiated so that prices are reasonable to people. This includes toll, electricity and so forth. And of course, thirdly, for my portfolio, ladies and gentlemen, there is just so much to be done insofar the AG's chambers is concerned. Now I think the first thing that we have to do, of course, with leave of the chairman, the moment we become government, the first thing we have to do is sack Gani Patel as the Attorney General of Malaysia. Now I think Malaysia has become a laughing stock internationally. Now ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this. You and I here, now we speak. Let me speak as a husband. Let me speak as a brother to a sister. Let me speak as a son to a mother. Now what would happen, ladies and gentlemen, if one of your loved ones was taken away, shot twice in the head? Not enough, shot twice in the head. After that, C4 around your body and blown into pieces. Wouldn't you here ask that question? That simple question as to why? Why it happened? The first question anybody would ask, why? Second question, who would want to do such a thing to our loved one? Now in this country the same thing happened with Teo Peng Hock. When Teo Peng Hock died, we all stood up. We demanded justice. And at that point of time, the Prime Minister, Najib Tun Razak, he succumbed to the pressure. And he said, yes, what is required is a full investigation. We want to know what happened. We want to get to the bottom of it. We want to know who did it, why it happened. Now it's simple. If for Teo Peng Hock we could ask those questions, why is it for Altan Tuya, Sharibu, we have not asked those questions? Why is it that in this particular case the Prime Minister doesn't understand that what we Malaysians want to know is also, why was she killed? Who gave the instructions? Now ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very serious matter. In 2009, I raised it in Parliament. Najib came to Parliament. Of course, I went for him. He didn't respond. He couldn't explain at that point of time. What happened was I was suspended for a year. Of course, gaji also tada, but it doesn't matter. Because insofar as we are concerned, we in the DAP, when we go to Parliament, we stand before you, we promise to fight for the people. We go to Parliament, we fight for you. It's not about the money. Now 2.5, 3 years later, we see what is known as carpet bombing. Carpet bombing from a carpet man. Somebody who comes out openly and says, I have information. I can tell you why it is the first statutory declaration was superseded by another. Very, very important information. Information which will then get us to the truth. What actually happened? Who actually was involved? But until today, we see how it is. Our Attorney General has remained silent. Completely silent. In fact, under Barisan Nasional, I think most of you here will agree with me, we have come to a situation where all of us must make do with silence. When we ask questions, there is silence. Silence, silence. So ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, as Rakyat of Malaysia, don't take this silence. We as the people of Malaysia, we don't just owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our children. We owe it to future generations that come. We must stand up for ourselves. We must stand up for Malaysia. And this is the reason why Najib Tun Razak is afraid. Najib Tun Razak knows his days are numbered. He knows that his Prime Minister, Rosma Mansor, he knows that his days are numbered. And this is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, just Ramu, another 2 minutes if possible. For me, just to give you all the message behind tonight's speech. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have all seen how it is. After 4 years, we have come this close. Let us remind ourselves that in the rest of the world, a two-party system is quite common. In fact, in America, recently we had the presidential election. You had Barack Obama, Mitt Romney openly debate. Both parties, both leaders, they knew the issues. They stood up, gave their points of view, and ultimately it was the people that decided. Similarly, in the UK, it is not uncommon to see governments change. But only in Malaysia we see, after 55 years, our Prime Minister is still saying openly, and this he said about 2 months ago. Now he said, Those who vote for the opposition, sesiapa yang undi untuk pembangkang tidak bertanggungjawab. Those who vote for the opposition are irresponsible. That is the same man who talks about making Malaysia the best democracy in the world. Now I want you to ask yourselves why. Why would a Prime Minister say that to you? Now you are entitled under the Constitution to a vote of your choice. I think UMNO and Barisan Nasional have got it in their heads that it's only them who can govern this country. Nobody else is fit to govern this country. To UMNO and Barisan Nasional, all of you here are incapable. You are incapable. You are incapable. You can't govern. In 2008, we have shown them at state level that we can. And I think most of you here will agree. Despite certain shortcomings, we in the Pakatan Rakyat stage have governed well. We have shown that we can govern as well. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the ultimate test. The time has come for us Malaysians to tell the rest of the world that even we are prepared to have a two-party system. It is time for us to show the rest of the world that we are not afraid. We have fought all these years. We will still keep fighting. We are not afraid to change the government of this country. And it is time for us to tell the rest of the world that we are not afraid to show UMNO and Barisan Nasional the door. We are not afraid to vote Pakatan Rakyat into power to govern this country for the next 5 years. And this is the reason why I end by saying, ladies and gentlemen, the next elections is not about Pakatan Rakyat versus Barisan Nasional. No. The next elections is about you. The next election is about us Malaysians standing up to vote, to give Barisan Nasional a signal that we are stronger than them. We decide who the government is. And if I ask you today, who is stronger? Barisan Nasional or the people of Malaysia? Who is stronger? Barisan Nasional or the people of Malaysia? So I ask you now, and I ask you here, I ask you again, next elections, Pakatan Rakyat can win or not? Yeah. Can you give your support to us? Yeah. Sure or not? Yeah. Can or not? Yeah. Isayo. Yeah. Thank you very much. Nari Walakam. Terima kasih.